Hello, welcome to Homeopathic Services. My name is Pierre Fontaine. Ask yourself, why is it that I can guarantee your child on the spectrum will be diagnosed off the spectrum at some point? give me a chance. Okay? I can tell you why I can guarantee and what makes me guarantee that your child will be off the spectrum. I can guarantee why and the what. And I will back this up with a case, as I usually do every week. Because if you're doing anything else, this is what you need to do. How I guarantee, what is it that I know about autism that makes me say I can guarantee that your child will be off the spectrum? I mean, every single week I present a case who has been diagnosed off the spectrum or will be very soon. It all depends. But every time when the child is not officially off the spectrum, I give you a sense of timeline because I go back to the first consultation a few, usually months ago. What I know, I have talked about nearly 100 of times here on Facebook in these short presentations dedicated to parents. What I know is a definition for autism. Not an idea of what autism is, but a definition. Something that explains, I've said it a million times, and some people must be getting tired of me repeating this, but I have to because there's always new people coming on. But there's also always something that one can learn from these repetitions. What I know is a definition for autism, something that logically explains what autism actually is, something that actually explains the 100 or 150 or so symptoms of autism. Because there are symptoms. Spinning the wheels of a toy truck. I always use this example, I'm sorry. But spinning the wheels of a toy truck is a symptom. It's not a behavior. Turning lights on and off is a symptom. It is not a behavior. Everything is symptom, not a behavior. Getting upset is a symptom on the part of the child, is a symptom, not a behavior. It's a symptom of autism. If you take that child to therapy, you are treating it as a behavior. They will treat it as a behavior. You are part of the system that does not recognize that it is a symptom rather than a behavior, because a behavior is assumed to be able to correct it. But that's not what is happening here in autism, with autism. 30 years ago, I took a very, very different approach to autism. I realized that everybody had been looking at autism and wondering, and then passing judgment. This child, that's why I harp on the idea that it is not behavior, it is a symptom. If you look at behavior, if you look at autism, the 100 or so 50 symptoms of not eating, for example, of not joining in, or not having speech. These are symptoms. It's not a behavioral condition. And you will get that when I get to these two words of a definition, you will understand. But as long as you join the group, the 98%, 99% of we're going to therapy, we're going to fix this behavior, your child will not improve, or improve so minimally it's not even worth talking about it. Because I see these children every single day. My child has improved. I've said it also many times. My child has improved, and I struggle to find where they could actually be improvement. Because in the behavior, I see that the child is very, 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 very much on the spectrum. So maybe the child is common and so on, but there's no understanding of what autism is. Autism is only one thing, and that is conceptual inability. It is nothing else. It's not a brain inflammation. And however the child got there, be it vaccine injury, being antibiotic, or in every single case, in any case, I find precursors, the precursors that I call, that I have found in every single case during pregnancy. Yes, I know people don't want to hear that, but that's a fact. Not wanting to hear it doesn't make the fact disappear. There is one precursor in particular. But regardless of that, it's not because the precursor is there that autism will develop. If you put precursor, therefore a certain weakness, plus vaccine, precursor plus certain medication, notably antibiotic, then we're really pushing the child towards autism. That's why it doesn't really declare itself very much before the age of 2. You see? We can, if we look hard enough, we can find something. But again, it doesn't have to develop. It's those medical interferences that make it so. But then the treatment should not be focused on these interferences. I'm not sure if that's a proper word. Because now you're only treating yesterday's war. You're treating the supposed causes. And that's why only limited improvement can happen. Because now the child has autism. And autism has to be treated. Autism itself has to be treated. In order to be treated, it has to be understood. That's why conceptual inability is so crucial to understanding what autism actually is in order to be able to do something about it, in order to begin to do something about it. Only begin. Because now these 150 symptoms need to be understood. Each and every single one of them needs to be analyzed, because a child who cannot play with a toy truck again, will need a different remedy from a child who has, for example, a little bit of speech. A child who has, who eats only one food, or even struggles eating any kind of food, and spins the wheels, that means the child is very much is deep in the spectrum. Definitely it's a different remedy than a child who has a fairly good diet, eats, but has these dictatorial symptoms that we see so often, must have his way, struggles with speech, struggle with socialization. You see a little light on the spectrum, that child will need a different remedy. And the child who has all these 150 symptoms need to be understood and matched to a remedy. Your child becomes an individual within a galaxy of remedies I talk about all the time, especially these 350 new remedies available in Europe. Not available in the US, not now. Certainly not now. Nobody's got them. And because of these individualizations, then autism can be reversed. So that is the what and the why. If you're giving B12 and trying to detox your child and so on, you're fighting yesterday's war. You're only going to reach a very minimal amount of improvement compared to neurotypicality. I mean, compare to neurotypicality. Don't be happy just because the child has a tantrum 3 times a week instead of 12. Let's get to a case. Let's get to a case. Because the reason why I see this is I see parents satisfied. And it saddens me to the deepest because their child is still not on the is still on the spectrum very, very, very much. Independence is not going to be reached. It cannot be willed. It cannot be hoped. The child needs to return to neurotypicality or at least be diagnosed off the spectrum, which I guarantee. I guarantee because I know what is happening out there. I know doctors, alternative doctors are going to mention the detox and so on and so forth, and the hyperbaric and the B12 and blah, 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 blah. That is yesterday's. You can still do that if you like, but it's going to be minimal. I am talking about diagnosed off the spectrum. And the reason I can do that is because I didn't look at this. They will talk about behaviors and so on and so forth. They're completely wrong. The reason why I got here, being able to guarantee off the spectrum, is because I spent 25 years, not a short amount of time in one's life, to go inside and understand autism, not looking at it and paying judgment, but by going inside. I, with a neurotypical temperament, was able to come out of it and write the 3rd book, The Language of, and something is going to fall on the ground. The Language of Autism. This will explain autism. Period. It took me a year and a half. It took me a year and a half to even accept I had written this because I went inside. I came out with this definition. That is, you can't get around it. This it's incontrovertible. It is that resolving autism, getting a child diagnosed off the spectrum is simply turning conceptual inability into conceptual ability. I've said this a million times now. Let's go to a case. He is expressing his idea this week. Like every week, I present to you a case. Get your child to do the same thing. He is expressing ideas. He is understanding what is going on. Mom says, don't go to daddy's room, he's sleeping. Oh, no hugs? In school, he is expressing, I need a break. I am hungry. Can you give me some food? I need to close the blinds. He is not in a rigid expression. It is a natural flow. He is expressing himself. But do notice that he's expressing himself in different situations, not saying learned sentences. He's expressing himself about various different needs across many different areas. That's, I make the point every single week, is what you want to see. Where did we start with this child? His eye contact was 0. We started 10 months ago. His eye contact was 0. Which frankly was 0, 0, 0. Eye contact 0, spontaneous interaction 0, does not play with kids. Spontaneous speech 0, non-existent. That's in parentheses, non-existent. Interaction does not play with kids. And eye contact, the only notes I have, very short. When the notes are short, there's nothing there. It only said sparingly. 10 months later, he's speaking across the board. He's not off the spectrum. He will be, for sure. Because he's not saying one thing. He's saying something spontaneously across various different areas or situation of his life. He's going to play soccer and meet some friends. School is saying is approaching neurotypical kids. He likes to play Candyland and Connect 4. He literally asks, you want to play games? The others play with him. There is no screaming and sitting well during circle time. Why? Because he has a sense of what circle time is. Conceptual inability is having no sense of. There is no screaming because he has a sense of what is happening. To him now, that is play. Circle time is play. It's not just sitting down. To a child on the spectrum, circle time is sitting still. There is no concept of, quote, circle time. There is no concept of circle time as a play thing. No, it's just sitting. The kid gets up. Understand? You see, they understand the how accurate the definition is. How easily we can all understand autism itself from the inside of the child. There is no screaming and sitting, and he's sitting well. during circle time because he understands circle time. He has a concept of circle time, that circle time is a nice thing, a playful thing. He is sitting for circle games. He's also going to sport meets. His participation in mainstream classroom is a big deal. 10 months ago, we started. 000. He was asking why another kid was using an iPad to communicate. Then the mom went into a whole thing about the system providing iPad and so on and so forth. But a kid on the spectrum is asking why another kid is using an iPad. He thinks, to him, it's completely, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because he's understanding. He gets it. He has concept. He has concept. He's understanding the ridiculousness of another kid on the spectrum using an iPad. Can you believe that? That's because these people are pushing iPads and so on and so forth, look at it as a behavioral thing. So they're dumbing down maybe with pictures on the iPad and so on and so forth. This is a kid who used to have seizures, by the way. Does not have seizures anymore. Parents can sleep. He is less sensitive to noise. He does not cover his ears much at all. Why do kids on the spectrum cover their ears? Tell me. Simple as if you don't know, if you don't have a concept of what is going on around you, well, you're going to think it's noisy because you have no concept of what's going on. You have no concept of the baby running here and the mother trying to catch the baby. You have no concept of people talking nicely among themselves. It all sounds like cacophonous sound. It all blends together because you can't make out one thing from another. No concept. No concept of communication among people. If you don't have that, you're going to absorb the whole thing, everything as one thing, noise. And what do? When we hear noise, we cover our ears. Or we go like this, or it all comes as one. There's no discernment. You see? You can understand all the symptoms of autism through conceptual inability. And then all that needs to be done is reverse that by understanding the child among these understanding the child precisely among these 150 so-called symptoms I talked about. A perfectly attuned remedy for that child, not B12 for everybody, hyperbaric chamber, detox, chelation. That has nothing to do with anything. Nothing to do with anything. Absolutely not. Because if an adult shows up to these doctors, the doctor is going to do the same thing. He's going to say, you need to detox, you need to get on a diet, you need to take B12, blah, 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 blah. And nothing to do with autism itself. Autism itself needs to be understood. And where the difficulty is for people is, well, how do you know autism? I'm trying to put you inside my own skin now. That is what is offered to me. It's 150 symptoms, and I need to find a remedy that fits absolutely perfectly within this spectrum of symptoms. wrong choice of word, but this way the child is understood from the inside. I understand your child from the inside. That is what nobody else can do. That's why I can guarantee that your child will be off the spectrum and the other one cannot. It takes some time sometimes. I had two cases that were taking a long time. I have only one case now. I will talk about that case because I know he will break through. Um, well, he broke the door handle. It's like in one of my bedrooms upstairs. You pull on the thing, and you put it back together. You fit it back. It was already broken, right? So he broke a door handle that was already broken. He was feeling guilty, and he was trying to fix it to please us. Before he didn't know why we scolded him. He had no idea. The parents tell you before we could have told him not to mess, blah, blah, blah. But he tried to fix it. He had no idea why he would be scolded. Oh, what did you do? You start scolding. It's just like, oh, what are you doing? Now the thing is broken. Well, here they knew it was broken. The parents knew it was broken, probably missing the little pin. That's exactly my situation in one of the bedroom, and he tried to fix it. If that's not concept coming back, he's taking out the trash. He cleans the table if he makes a mess. He used to cry so much. He was never happy. Outside, he wanted. If we took him outside, he wanted to be inside. If we was inside, he wanted to be outside. Listen, all parents on the spectrum know this kind of thing. Always screaming or crying. He would not even eat or drink. This was a deep case. Okay. I started to feel like I was walking on eggshell. That's the mother talking, and I know parents of kids on the spectrum feel very much that way often. He stopped smiling for a full year. Now he sleeps very well. He sleeps until 7:30 a.m. and no twitches. Parents are sleeping well. Finally. Now, I'm telling you, this is possible for every single kid. I know I'm the only guy who tells you this. It doesn't make me wrong. I read a case every single week here. I can only say, take a chance. I don't know what else to tell people, that it is absolutely possible. And why do I talk about it? The reason I talk about it is because if you stick to the old model, I was going to say, the old model, the so-called behavioral model, you're not going to make your child better. You're going to make your child understand that he has, or she, a problem that they themselves don't understand, but they are repeatedly asked to be doing something that they do not understand and cannot do, therefore. And frustration goes up, and frustration goes up until, like this mom was saying, you walk on eggshells. You walk on eggshells because the kid understands that there's something, they ask me to do something, I have not a damn clue what it is. Sometimes I tell parents, in order to understand, I'm going to ask you one question. I'm going to tell you one thing. And you will feel a little bit like your child. And I say, you speak Russian, right? You speak Russian. I mean, if you listen, there's usually about 500 people who listen to these clips. You speak Russian. I am affirming to you that you speak Russian. Don't tell me no. You speak Russian. Coming to my exercise here. Play with this. You speak Russian. And you're going to tell me no. I don't. I'm telling you, you speak Russian. You can do it. And you tell me no. Yeah, maybe. Maybe you can answer with that. Yeah. No, you can speak Russian. Imagine being told, say apple, only one word, not even a language. Imagine being told repetitively many different things that you can do. Somebody is affirming that you can do that, so I will teach you what to do in order for you to learn to do that, to say this or to do this. And you have no idea. It's a foreign language on its own. You have no idea what this person is asking you every single week or sometimes every single day. You can write an A. Yeah, you can write an A. Let's do this. And the child eventually puts one bar a little bit slanted and another bar a little bit slanted and then something across. Autism writing, I call it. And everybody goes, yeah, you wrote an A. I have no idea. Only with multiple, hundreds of times that maybe that child, depending on where on the spectrum he is going to maybe understand that it's an A, or at least it fits with apple. But the A is never going to be a rounded letter and so on. It's going to be all over the place because there's no concept really of writing. That you write just like on in a book. It's a straight line. It's not going in a wavy pattern all over the place with letters that don't mean anything. That is what I call learning through contextual situation. That is repetition. That's an entirely different thing. It doesn't affect concept at all. That's why children stay on the spectrum. In order to completely reverse the steam, if you will, going from conceptual inability to conceptual ability, the only way to do that is the way I present it to you. By understanding the child from the inside and being able to give a remedy that has all of these qualities, all of these attributes, all of these symptoms. That's the only way. There's no other way. There's no other way. B12 is not going to cut it. Hyperbaric chamber and so on and so forth, you're going to get a little bit of improvement, but that's it. An enormous effort. Thank you so very much for listening. My name is Pierre Fontaine. The website is homeopathic-services.com. Homeopathic-services.com. Again, I repeat myself, but it is necessary. There's always new people. Homeopathic-services.com. Please go to the website. If you want to ask me any question, click on the forms. They work now. The email address is homeoserve@gmail.com. Homeoserve@gmail.com. The phone is still a problem. Ever since Skype disappeared, that is still a problem. It's easy to get in touch with me through email or through the website homeopathic services.com. I appreciate you listening, and I'll be back next week. Thank you so very much. Bye bye.